I'm from Soramitsu, and we are a blockchain technology company and one of the contributors and supporters to Hyperledger Iroha. And I don't look like a Japanese person, but I'm actually a naturalized Japanese citizen, so it's really great to be here today and to meet all of you. And feel free to connect on LinkedIn. My company, Soramitsu, has been around for 8 years, and we do a lot of stuff in blockchain space. We try to be specialists in blockchains. We don't really do anything else. We just focus on blockchain technology, and we focus on really using Hyperledger Iroha for many of our applications, and we've been using it for many years with the Central Bank of Cambodia, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this use case today. But actually, the system in Cambodia was quite successful, and so the Japanese government has been promoting our work and supporting us to work with other central banks. So we use Hyperledger Iroha with the central banks of Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, and now PDR. And we also have been working with this Ministry of Finance of Palau on the savings bond project using Hyperledger Iroha. And we work actually with the Telco Consortium. This Fraud Intelligence Limited. This is a consortium of telcos globally that uses Hyperledger Iroha to share kind of fraud information to prevent telco fraud. So I think this is the Singapore FinTech Festival, so many people I think already know about central bank digital currencies, but central bank digital currencies really are digital currencies created by central bank, and they kind of came about because, to be frank, central banks saw the success of DeFi and cryptocurrencies, and they didn't want to lose market share, to lose their monopoly in currency issuance, and so they wanted to use the advantages of blockchain technology, which is high security, high availability, in order to make their own currencies. And there's different types of central bank digital currencies. There can be retail and also wholesale, and then retail can further be broken down into direct or intermediated CBDCs. So direct is just when somebody has an account directly in the central bank, and indirect or intermediated CBDCs are when retail users have some other financial institution in between. And we've been working for several years with the Central Bank of Cambodia on Bakong, and this is both a retail and intermediated CBDC and also a wholesale CBDC platform. And it's quite an exciting project because it was one of the first blockchain-based systems ever launched in use with the central bank. It's been live for over 4 years now, and currently it's processing around 3 million transactions per day and around $300 million per day, which is pretty big for a country the size of Cambodia. And this is a system where anyone with a mobile phone app can send and receive money to each other. And maybe I can just quickly show a brief demo, since some people are close enough where I can see my screen. Let me just log into my app here. Lots of buttons to push. So this is a Bakong app, and this is allowing people to send money directly to a phone number or an email address that's registered in the system. So I can send money, for example, to my other account that's registered by email, and I can type in $1 to send, hit send, and then it's being processed. So it signs the transaction on the phone, sends it to the Hyperledger Iroha blockchain platform, and it's already done. So it's about 3 seconds for the block time. So it's really fast, and it has very high availability, working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So a use case like this is a really great example of how you can use blockchain technology. So just here's another flow of how it works. So the central bank creates a digital real or digital US dollar on the blockchain platform, and then financial institutions in the Kingdom of Cambodia can basically buy the digital currency from the central bank. So they send money to their central bank's account, and then the central bank transfers back digital currency to the wallet of the financial institution. And the wallet is just software that manages the keys that are used for signing the transactions digitally. And then this digital currency is then transmitted to the retail users via the financial institutions. So retail users come, they transfer money or they buy with cash digital currency from the financial institutions, and then they send it back to the mobile wallet that I just showed you. So, skip a couple of slides here. And a really exciting development that just came out is there's a tourist version of the app now. So now everyone, you don't just have to be a Cambodian local with a local phone number to use the app. Anyone who's an inbound tourist can install the app and register with just an email address, and it allows you to send money now to email addresses in the app, which is really cool. It's great functionality. It's very easy. And then actually starting this week, you can also top up your balance using Mastercard. So you can go there as a tourist and you can instantly top up the balance and then you can use it all throughout Cambodia for cashless payments, which is really cool because in Cambodia, Mastercard is not really supported so often in normal shops. People are always worried about regulatory compliance in a system like this, and there's a few points that are really important to understand. One, a digital currency payment system like this using blockchain is very highly traceable. So if there is any future financial crime or some kind of activity, this can be traced in the future. Of course, using a dual legal process, so due process of law and getting a court order to analyze the data can be done. But it means that a system like this is not really made or easy to use for financial crimes. So that's always a good thing. And to further reduce the risk of financial crimes, there's a very low daily spending limit. So you can register with a soft KYC using just your email address or phone number, but you only get maybe around $250 per day spending limit. And so to actually spend more, you have to go and do KYC, and then once you do that, your account is linked to your identity, and it's very easy to trace if somebody does something wrong. There's also a few enhancements that have been made to the apps to prevent fraudulent activity, for example, warning users if they send money to unverified accounts. So as I mentioned, Bakong is using Hyperledger Iroha, and a really exciting development is recently we've been working with central banks in Solomon Islands and Lao PDR and then Papua New Guinea on similar projects like doing a POC for a central bank digital currency. And this is using Hyperledger Iroha version 2, which is a huge step up compared to version 1 in that there's many new features and the performance is even better. So in version 1 of Iroha, we focused on making just asset transactions, so making it very easy to create assets and transfer them. In Iroha 2, we have a WASM virtual machine, so you can now have a full turnkey smart contracts and decentralized apps directly on chain, which allows you to do really anything that you could ever want to do. And we still keep it just as easy as in Iroha 1. There's still a core data model of accounts and domains and assets. And assets can really represent any type of digital asset. So it could be a currency, it could be a non-fungible token, it could be a soulbound token, it could be many different things. And in the WASM VM, we have an API where you can actually write code in Rust and then compile it to WASM and then deploy it. So it's really fast, it's highly efficient, and we make sure that all the state updates go through this common API. So it makes it a little bit more secure than programming models like based on Solidity or EVM because it constrains how all the state updates are happening to the ledger state through a common API. But you can still do any kind of updates that you want, meaning that it's a very complete platform. And this can be integrated into central bank digital currency solutions. Really, we've done it using a two-tier approach where the central bank runs the core system. So in Cambodia, we have the Bakong core system, which is right at the center. And then on top of that, we have different gateways that provide API access to the end users. And it can control really the access to the to the off-chain state. So things like the KYC documents, things like this. These are stored in the payment gateways and not on-chain. So you keep the blockchain as the transactional layer in the system. And this is another view of how it works. So you can see that banks in Cambodia are using a payment gateway that then is interfacing with their core banking system to do reporting, to manage the account balances, and all these things. And in Cambodia, actually, all the banks are standardized on ISO 20022. So this makes it a lot easier to just do the integration once, and then you can connect all the systems in the country at the same time, which is really, really great. Most countries are not standardized to that extent, but as we see ISO 20022 moving out more around the world, we will see easier standardization. Maybe just explain a little bit the difference to existing payment systems. So most payment systems, when you go to a store and you pay with some kind of like a QR code or app, it's actually not making the payment instantly. It's doing, it's sending a message about the making payment. So what this means is that later this message has to be settled and cleared, and usually there's some kind of netting process, and this can take some time. So it actually can be a couple of weeks before money actually hits the account in a finalized form at a store. But with a real-time system like in CBC or Bakong, when you make, because it's kind of a pre-funded system with a central bank money, when you make the payment, it's actually a value transfer. And so you're not talking about making the payment, you are making the payment. And so this means there's no clearing or settlement phase afterwards. That once the blockchain gets settlement finality, it's done, and the account balance is updated, and you can move on. And this is really important for things like cross-border payments, because when you're making payments cross-border, you don't want to have the counterparty risk that maybe a settlement would fail. And so Bakong made it really easy to integrate with other payment solutions. It's not working here in Singapore yet, but it will be very soon. Actually, it's being worked on. But it's linked to the payment systems in Laos, and Thailand, and Vietnam. And actually, it's also working now with the Do It Now in Malaysia. And the Chinese UnionPay QR codes that are used in Cambodia. So this is really exciting. Because it means that you can use the same app and you can travel, for example, from Cambodia to Thailand, and you can just make payments with your local account. And this is really great for especially workers who do seasonal work in Thailand. They go to work for maybe 3 months, and traditionally they would have to send their money back to Cambodia using some kind of remittance services, and it's really expensive, and the fees are very high. But with a system like this, you get payment within 10 seconds, and it's a lot cheaper and easier to do. So I already talked about the system is processing around $300 million a day. That's because it's not only used for retail use, but also for wholesale use. So Bakong is also doing interbank settlements because the banks are using the system kind of as a backbone payment processing layer throughout the kingdom. And a really key factor in the success of Bakong was the standardization of the payment rails using a KHQR. So KHQR is a standardized QR code, and the central bank basically got all the payment service providers and all the financial institutions on board on the same platform. So it doesn't matter what payment app you use, you can always scan the standard QR code and it will just do the routing behind the scenes. And it basically uses Bakong for the routing. So if you're paying, of course, within the same app to the same app, it's going to go through that company's systems. But if you're paying from one app to another app, or from one bank to another, it will actually route through Bakong. And it's more or less instant with just 2 seconds settlement time. And there's a really cool documentary. I think it's behind a paywall now. But the Japanese broadcaster NHK went into the countryside of Cambodia. They interviewed people, and they did a really great show, kind of showing how digital payments in Cambodia are changing people's lives and really giving people new opportunities. And former Prime Minister Kishida also mentioned Bakong in his speech at the Future of Asia Forum last year. And he said that Japan wants to help promote and get a second and third Bakong, meaning that they want more successes throughout the region. And this technology that's based around the open source Hyperledger Iroha platform, I think is really great. And it's a good use case for for the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust, and shows how systems like this can be reliably used in production. So Bakong's been in production for more than 4 years now, without any major incidents, and I think it's a really good use case to kind of showcase the power of reliable open source software. As I mentioned, we're also doing some really great work with other central banks. Last year we did a proof of concept with the Central Bank of Solomon Islands. That was sponsored by the Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. And we went beyond actually just a simple use case of digital payments. We actually, of course, we had digital payments like person-to-person payments, payments in stores, wholesale settlement, but we also built a bridge to Sora. Like this is a public blockchain platform, and so we built a bridge to this where users can move tokens back and forth. And this really, I think, showcases the ease of use of using the APIs in Hyperledger Iroha, because we actually built this bridge in just a week, and it worked very reliably during the course of the POC. And we're working on a really cool platform using Iroha 2, where we using Iroha 2 for short version 3, which we're creating like basically a hub chain, which different central banks can use to create their assets, and that means they can also easily interact with each other and do settlement. But you can also have other use cases on the same chain, like for example, DeFi applications could potentially be on the chain. You can have other types of use cases. And of course, central banks don't want things to be public, so inside the internal transaction state of their digital currency, we'll have private subnets that will also be kind of like a private network of Iroha 2 that will be connected to the public network for a specific protocol. And then all the transactions will be kept private just for the node operators on the private subnet. Now, Iroha is a system, so currently we don't have any CK integration. Maybe in the future that will come, but right now it uses a permissioned ledger, so that the people who are the node operators have to get permission to join the network currently, and this means that you're able to set the permissions about who can access the data on the network. Okay, so maybe just to sum up, and maybe I'll take some questions if there's some questions. Today I talked a little bit about the use case of Hyperledger Iroha in Cambodia, and how we're also expanding, doing research with other central banks around the world. And I think if you're interested in contributing, we're happy to interact with you. We have a chat on Telegram where contributors join. There's some really cool activity being done. In fact, I have some friends that just went to Argentina, and there's a guy that put Hyperledger Iroha on a CubeSat. And it was actually like having a node in space, which I thought was, I mean, what's cool is he did it without even asking me or our company. So he did his own research, and he looked at different blockchain platforms, and he said, hey, this is an easy platform to use, I'm just going to use it. So things like that, I think really showcase the power of open source and open collaboration. And I think it's really great to be here today in Singapore, and it's really great to be a member of the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust.